let's talk about this game. Because I'll be honest with you, I thought at one point we were going to get blown out by like 60 points. But we didn't. And I got to give a lot of props to the second half Bengals here. Because we only allowed 10 points in the end. Now, listen, if you watch the live stream, you know I get very passionate during these games. But at the end of the day, yes, it was just a preseason game. And at the end of the day, no, this game does not matter in any circumstance outside of just seeing our guys for the first time, seeing how good they play, and, taking away things that we need to work on, right? First off, our offense, our first team offense, they might be the best offense in NFL history. And I know we went against the Eagles, second string, whatever, but that offense is just so in tune. That offense is just so, blended perfectly that I feel bad for anyone we go against. Because our offense is amazing. Now, our first team defense didn't really look that good. We didn't have Cam Taylor-Britt out there. We didn't have Dax Hill out there. So our secondary definitely struggled greatly. Jalen Davis still being on this roster at this point is a joke. Brooks didn't look too good, but Jalen Davis had a freaking atrocious game. That's the best way I could put that at this point. Again, across the board, it's the first preseason game. It's the first time for those guys to get out there and really show their stuff and work their magic. So I'm going to kind of, as always, the first preseason game, you got to just throw it away. Throw it away. Don't think about it. You really want to see second and third games. That's when you really want to see progression and you want to see things get better, right? Because first preseason game always ends up being a wash. Now, our run defense looked good, and I'm very happy with how our run defense ended up shaking out. I think they did a really good job, and I think across the board, I'm very confident in this run defense. Shamar Stewart looked really good in this game. He was able to get in the backfield. He was able to shut down the run. We didn't really get much pass rush in this game, and that definitely, hindered us to a certain degree. But at the same time, again, I think we're going to get better as time goes on. Having Trey Hendrickson, though, we need Trey Hendrickson. It's very apparent that outside of Trey, we might be in the same spot we were in last year, where I don't know if we're going to get as much pass rush other than Trey Hendrickson. So we need Trey. That's definitely a must. But again, like I said, it was a good game. We came back in the end. Jake Browning as a backup quarterback. I love Jake, but his preseason work is disgustingly bad. And I know it's preseason, so he probably doesn't care, mainly because he knows he's the backup no matter what. But his preseason work is disgustingly bad. The offsides on Poison Ivy definitely was embarrassing. They missed a field goal. Poison Ivy jumps offsides. This ends up being a 7-point ball game in the end. And that offsides cost us 3 points. The the unnecessary roughness. When they kick the field goal near the goal line to make it a 10-point ball game, we get an unnecessary roughness, and they go ahead and get a touchdown out of it. They were going to get a field goal off that drive. We give them a touchdown. So it is stuff like that even though it's a preseason game, you can take away and you can make better and you need to work on. And that's just a lot of that just discipline. Because that should never be a thing. We gave them 10 points and we lost. We gave them 7 points. We didn't give them 4 points, actually, right? Yeah, we gave them 4 points. Because the field goal, no. Because if we would have not jumped off sides, the field goal would have been no good. So that would have been, we get back that 3 points. So that's 31-27. They would have gotten a field goal no matter what, right? On that one thing. If we would have stopped them and not allowed, they would have gotten the field goal, then we would have prevented the touchdown, which would have been plus 4 points. Yeah, so 4 points. 4 points in the end is what we gave them. We lost by 7. So, again, circumstances might be different. They might be more aggressive at the end of the game. Again, there's always situations like that. But just stuff that I think we definitely need to work on. I wouldn't mind picking up another safety or cornerback. That's something I think that could definitely help us, especially for a little bit more depth in the secondary. Picking up another veteran corner could really help. I think our line did actually really good tonight. I was very proud of how our offensive line operated. Even our backup offensive line. Like, our starting offensive line looked great. Lucas Patrick did have a mistake early in the game. But other than that, our offensive line looked really good. And I definitely think moving forward, it's going to come down to our backup offensive line, continuing to get better. But even then, our backup offensive line looked good too. So, a loss sucks. And I know this video was all over the place. I apologize for that. I have a lot of thoughts after I just finished live streaming 3.5 hours. So I have a lot of thoughts in this game. But a loss sucks. But I think it's a loss where they're going to get back to the drawing board. Obviously have a lot to talk about. But I think there's going to be a lot of positive things that come away from this game. Tackling with our second and third string definitely was also an issue. For those who saying we should fire Al Golden after this game, you got to stop. You got to stop. I kept seeing that in the chat, and I keep seeing it everywhere. Listen, it's preseason, okay? You're never going to get the best play calling possible in preseason. Everything in preseason is going to be, just as vanilla as humanly possible. Because you're not going to come out there and show your best plays in preseason. That's idiotic. In preseason, you show concepts, but you don't show actual, we're going to call this exotic blitz in preseason. Because preseason doesn't matter. At the end of the day, for the long run here, preseason is not going to matter. So you're not going to do that. You're not, because if we go out there right now, and let's say Al comes out with his best formations possible in the run defense, right? And he calls the craziest plays. That's stupid. We're in preseason. You're going to go out there and call the craziest plays, and then the Browns now know week 1 how to game plan versus Al Golden for a game that is, in all purposes, meaningless, right? Other than learning, getting better, and development for your own team, it's pointless to go out there and go crazy in a preseason game. So, I just keep that in mind, okay? We also didn't have a couple starters out there. It is what it is. I think we'll be fine. Next week we play Washington. We've already been informed by Zach Taylor that starters will be playing a lot in Washington's game. So that's going to be the most time we see starters. I wouldn't be surprised if week 3 against the Colts, we don't see any starters, and we just see all of our starters this upcoming week versus Washington. Would not surprise me in the slightest. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be a great game, but at the same time, it's also going to be a crazy game moving forward. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.